Welcome to Mr. Darker, your go-to for spine-chilling true horror stories and unsettling mysteries. Join us as we explore the haunting tales of Kathy Marie Moulton, Mary Virginia Carpenter, and Alvin Matlock. On September 24, 1971, the disappearance of Kathy Marie Moulton sent shockwaves through Portland, Maine, and haunted her family for decades to come. Kathy, a 16-year-old girl described by friends and family as lively and kind-hearted, had plans that evening to attend a dance in her hometown. It was supposed to be a typical Friday night, one filled with laughter and youthful exuberance, but it turned into a mystery that would linger unresolved for years. The day began innocuously enough. Kathy asked her father to drop her off on Cumberland Avenue, where she intended to pick up a pair of pantyhose and some toothpaste before getting ready for the dance. She had a routine, a set of small tasks that framed her day, each step leading towards the evening's excitement. After her brief shopping excursion, Kathy stopped by a music store on Forest Avenue to visit a friend. They chatted about the upcoming dance, and Kathy confirmed her attendance. Her friend remembered her as upbeat, excited for the night ahead. As the day waned and shadows stretched across Portland, Kathy announced her intention to walk home, a familiar trek of about a mile and a half. She waved goodbye to her friend and headed off down Forest Avenue, her brown leather Mexican clutch purse swinging lightly at her side. Inside were her house key, toothpaste tubes, and a modest amount of cash, essentials for any teenager on the cusp of a weekend outing. However, Kathy never made it home that evening. When dinner time came and went without her arrival, her parents, growing increasingly concerned, knew something was wrong. It wasn't like Kathy to be late without a call. They waited anxiously, hoping for her to walk through the door any moment, but their worry deepened into dread as the hours ticked by in silence. The first clue emerged from eyewitness reports. Kathy had been seen in the company of Lester Everett, a friend whose involvement in her disappearance would become a point of speculation and suspicion. There were sightings of them together in a stolen blue Cadillac, hinting that Kathy might have left willingly, at least initially. But as the days turned into weeks, the narrative grew more troubling. Several weeks after Kathy's disappearance, witnesses reported seeing her, Lester, and another young man, Ronald Pearly, in a remote area of Aroostook County. Ronald, known for his troubled past, including convictions for rape and home invasion, cast a dark shadow over the investigation from the beginning. Lester, however, was found alone later on, claiming ignorance of Kathy's whereabouts. A critical lead emerged from a garage employee in Fort Fairfield, Aroostook County, who distinctly remembered Kathy, Lester, and Ronald. They had come to the garage to buy new tires for the Cadillac. The employee recalled Ronald's domineering demeanor towards Kathy, noting how he seemed to control her every move, even escorting her to and from the bathroom with a possessive hand on her neck. The trail grew colder as reports placed them across the border on the Tobique Reserve, a First Nations community in New Brunswick, Canada. Witnesses recalled seeing Kathy and Lester together for a few days in September 1971 before they disappeared again. Rumors suggested they had ventured to a farm in the Mars Hill area of Aroostook County, where they found work on a potato field owned by McBride's farm. Life on the farm was far from idyllic for Kathy. She was visibly uncomfortable, constantly expressing her desire to return home to Portland. She confided in a teenage girl who also worked on the fields, sharing her fears about upsetting her parents and her distrust of the men around her. Kathy's unease only grew as she cried often, feeling isolated and vulnerable in an unfamiliar place. Lester, weary of Kathy's persistent pleas to leave, reached a breaking point on the evening of September 29, 1971. While the other field workers enjoyed a bonfire, he decided to take matters into his own hands. With Kathy reluctantly seated in the passenger seat, Lester drove away in the stolen Cadillac, assuring her they were going for a short ride. Kathy, increasingly desperate, begged him to turn back towards Portland, but Lester remained resolute in his silence. The truth emerged the next morning when Lester returned alone, claiming he had dropped Kathy off at another camp. In reality, he had transported her back across the Canadian border to the Tobique Reserve, where Ronald awaited her. It was a betrayal wrapped in deception, leaving Kathy stranded in an unfamiliar place with no means to escape. Lester's actions took a darker turn as he departed for Florida with a few others to pick oranges, severing ties with Maine and any chance of reconciliation with Kathy's family. He would never return to face the questions that swirled around him, eventually succumbing to cancer in the mid-1980s, leaving behind unanswered questions and unresolved guilt. Meanwhile, Ronald Reed Pearly, the enigmatic figure in Kathy's disappearance, remained a prime suspect despite his steadfast refusal to cooperate with law enforcement. Even when offered immunity from prosecution in exchange for information about Kathy's fate, Ronald remained silent, his silence a shield against justice. Investigators faced numerous obstacles in their quest for answers. They speculated that Kathy may have met with foul play at the hands of Lester or Ronald, possibly meeting her end on the Tobique Reserve before Thanksgiving of 1971. Despite their suspicions, concrete evidence remained elusive, preventing authorities from filing charges or obtaining warrants to search Ronald's family home. Years passed, and hope dimmed for Kathy's family. In 1983, a hunter stumbled upon a grim discovery in the woods near Smyrna, Maine, a skeleton surrounded by remnants of female clothing. Speculation arose that these could be Kathy's remains, but the hunter was unable to retrace his steps and lead police back to the site. The bones vanished as mysteriously as Kathy had on that fateful September evening. Kathy Marie Moulton's disappearance left an indelible mark on those who knew her. Described by classmates as cheerful and caring, Kathy had no apparent reason to run away from home. Her father passed away in 2017 without knowing the truth, leaving her mother, who still clings to hope after all these years, yearning for closure. The case of Kathy Marie Moulton remains unsolved, a poignant reminder of a young life cut short and the enduring pain of unanswered questions. Her story continues to haunt those who remember her, a testament to the relentless pursuit of justice and the enduring hope that someday the truth will prevail. Mary Virginia Carpenter, a 21-year-old from Texarkana, Texas, vanished under mysterious circumstances in the summer of 1948, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and lingering suspicions. Her story begins with a journey that ended abruptly, shrouding her fate in uncertainty. Mary had always been determined and focused on her future. After attending the University of Arkansas, she made the decision to transfer to Texas Women's University in Denton, Texas, to pursue a career as a laboratory technician. The summer of 1948 was meant to be a new beginning for Mary, a chance to embark on a path that promised fulfillment and opportunity. On June 1, 1948, Mary arrived in Denton by train, ready to start her summer term. She was seen for the last time around 9:30 p.m. that evening by a taxi driver near Brackenridge Hall on the campus of Texas Women's University. Edgar Ray Zachary, the taxi driver, recalled dropping Mary off and receiving instructions from her to retrieve her trunk from the train station the following day. As she exited the taxi, she approached two young men near a yellow convertible, appearing to know them. This was the last confirmed sighting of Mary Virginia Carpenter. The alarm was raised swiftly when Mary failed to check into her dormitory as planned and didn't contact her family. For Mary's loved ones, her sudden disappearance was utterly out of character. Known for her closeness with her family, she had no history of vanishing without a trace or leaving without a word. Her former boyfriends described her as someone who could become infatuated easily, sparking early speculation that she might have eloped with a lover. However, her family dismissed this theory, believing Mary would have confided in them if she had such plans. Investigators focused their attention on those closest to Mary, including her recent ex-fiancé Kenny Branham and the taxi driver Edgar Ray Zachary. Kenny, who was the first to report Mary missing to her mother and passed polygraph tests, was quickly ruled out as a suspect. Edgar, on the other hand, had a checkered past, including a record of petty crimes and an allegation of attempted rape in 1957. Despite passing 2 polygraph tests initially, Edgar's credibility came into question when discrepancies emerged in his alibi. His wife's conflicting statements further clouded his involvement, revealing inconsistencies in his whereabouts on the night Mary disappeared. Compounding the mystery were the infamous Lover's Lane murders that had plagued Texarkana just a few years earlier. 5 young people, similar in age to Mary, had been brutally murdered in secluded areas. The crimes, attributed to the elusive Texarkana Phantom Killer, remained unsolved, casting a long shadow over the community. Mary had known 3 of the victims, prompting speculation of a potential link between her disappearance and the murders. However, police found no concrete evidence to support this connection. Over the decades, numerous leads and sightings of Mary surfaced, each offering a glimmer of hope to her family and investigators. In 1998, a tip suggested that Mary had been raped and murdered shortly after her disappearance, with her body allegedly buried near a dam at a stock tank near the Texas Women's University campus. By then, the suspects implicated were deceased, leaving police with no way to verify the claim. Mary's parents, who had tirelessly pursued answers until their passing, left behind her 3 cousins as the remaining family members still searching for closure. Despite the passage of time, the case of Mary Virginia Carpenter continues to haunt those who remember her, a poignant reminder of a life interrupted and justice yet to be served. In the annals of unsolved mysteries, Mary's disappearance stands as a testament to the enduring quest for truth and closure. Her story resonates with the community of Texarkana and beyond, a reminder of the vulnerability of youth and the unanswered questions that linger when a life is cut short. As the years pass, hope flickers with each new lead, each whispered rumor, but the truth remains elusive, leaving Mary Virginia Carpenter forever lost in the shadows of a summer night in 1948. Alvin Matlock, a 21-year-old Army veteran, vanished without a trace in the spring of 1951, leaving behind a perplexing mystery that has haunted his family and community for decades. His disappearance from Spokane, Washington, where he resided in a secluded cabin on Browns Mountain in Spokane County, has led to numerous theories but no definitive answers. Alvin was known for his rugged independence and love for the outdoors. Having returned from military service, he settled into a quiet life in his cabin, far from the bustle of city life. His younger brother Clyde, who was just 12 years old at the time of Alvin's disappearance and is now 83, vividly remembers the day when his older brother seemingly vanished into thin air. Clyde has never given up hope that one day his brother's fate will be resolved, and his remains will be found. In 2016, Clyde and his wife Patricia attended a poignant event hosted by the Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office, dedicated to finding missing persons. The event allowed families like theirs to file updated police reports, submit DNA samples and dental records, and share cherished photographs of their loved ones in the hopes of generating new leads or closure. The events leading up to Alvin's disappearance are shrouded in speculation. Family members recall Alvin mentioning his cabin's location during a conversation in March, shortly before he vanished. The first sign that something was amiss came on Thanksgiving Day in 1951, when Alvin failed to join his family for their traditional dinner. Concerned, his mother made the journey to Browns Mountain, only to find Alvin's cabin eerily deserted. Both of his vehicles were missing, and there was no trace of where he had gone. A neighbor informed the family that Alvin had quietly packed his belongings and left for Alaska, offering a possible explanation that initially provided a glimmer of hope to Alvin's loved ones. Clyde and others in the family held on to this belief for years, clinging to the idea that Alvin had simply embarked on a new chapter far from Washington state. However, as the years passed without any communication or verified sightings of Alvin in Alaska, doubts began to grow. Rumors circulated within the community that Alvin had been romantically involved with a married woman, which allegedly led to a heated confrontation with her husband. According to some accounts, neighbors reported hearing a commotion and cries for help around the time of Alvin's disappearance, suggesting a violent altercation may have taken place. Speculation mounted that the woman's husband may have fatally wounded Alvin during the confrontation, leaving his fate uncertain. Police investigated these claims, but with no physical evidence or body discovered, they were unable to make any arrests. There were no records or credible sightings of Alvin ever living in Alaska, despite initial reports from the neighbor. Family members pointed out that while Alvin was independent and accustomed to solitary living in the wilderness, moving to Alaska without leaving any trace seemed out of character. Patricia Matlock, Alvin's sister-in-law, undertook her own investigation over the years, seeking out new leads and attempting to uncover potential witnesses who might shed light on Alvin's fate. Despite her efforts and those of law enforcement, no substantial breakthroughs were made. The 2016 Missing Persons event was a poignant reminder of the unresolved nature of Alvin's case. Clyde could do nothing more than contribute photographs of his brother and provide his own DNA, hoping that advancements in technology or a stroke of luck might one day lead to the discovery of Alvin's remains and bring closure to their family's long-standing anguish. Today, Alvin Matlock's disappearance remains an open wound for his family, a stark reminder of a life interrupted and a mystery unsolved. Each passing year rekindles hopes and fears, as memories of Alvin's laughter and camaraderie linger on, juxtaposed with the unanswered questions surrounding his disappearance. The enduring dedication of Clyde and Patricia, along with their extended family, serves as a testament to the unyielding resolve to find answers and bring peace to Alvin's memory. As time marches on, the search for Alvin Matlock continues, fueled by a steadfast belief that one day the truth will emerge, and justice will prevail for a man who simply vanished from Brown's Mountain, leaving behind a trail of questions and a legacy of hope.
If you've ever experienced a chilling encounter while home alone or have a horror story to share, whether it's your own or one from a friend or nearby place, I want to hear it. Send your complete story to my email. Your story might just be featured in an upcoming video.